We in there. Talk to him now. I'm gonna see what's going on. See if I can get in and get a. I don't think so. I tried. Oh, I know what I should have did. Let me see. I'll be right back, y'all. Let me try some. No go. I tried. I was trying to use this. I couldn't. I think I could do it when I just string with it by itself. So here we is for this late night edition. I really couldn't play too much of nothing. Cause right now I'm using my monitor and I'm using my camera. I ain't got too much going on outside of that. So what y'all got right now is the Let's Get To It movement. All my go-getters with me. Let's go. Let's go. We back in business, Baltimore. I just got off the phone with my brother. He had a lot of questions. We was talking about spiritual stuff. The good book, of course. We was talking about people who don't keep their word. And that was going into what we were speaking about earlier. So I was telling them that I actually had a conversation about that stuff earlier. That I actually delved into. Sometimes, people got their own things going on. You would think that it's not so. You would think that people will move the same way you do, but they don't. They don't. They don't at all. So it's like, let me see something. Did this work? Let me see. It's on. No, that don't work either. I tried it. Nothing works. I'm gonna get it. Just not now. Throw that back on lock. That ain't working. Throw this on lock too. It ain't working. But we got a clear picture. This is about the highest quality that I done seen as of yet. But we ain't got no sound. All this sound is coming straight through right here. It's on the phone. I got these headphones in. Without the headphones, I was getting a big echo because I think the camera was picking up what was coming off the phone. And I'm running it with the Xperia 1 Mark 5. So, yeah, let me get into what we was talking about. We was really talking about how people justify what they do. Then we got into spirituality. And I was just telling him, I grew up Christian. And at some point in my life, I became a fiber son. And then at another point in my life, I dabbled into the Nation of Islam, which I found out that the 5%ers actually have roots in the Nation of Islam, and the Nation of Islam actually have roots in the Sunni Muslim community, but it's like a variation of it. I no longer participate in the 5% Nation. I no longer, try to do the Nation of Islam thing. Not knocking it. It's just not where I'm at in my life. I also learned a little bit about the Sunni Muslims. I didn't stick with that. But if it was any spirituality that I would lean to, that I'm more familiar with, it would be Christianity. But I do have my, I guess, differences when it comes to my beliefs. And that's what it boils down to, your beliefs. People say, let the faith be led by faith. But it's hard to be led by faith when everything stands against it. They tell you to let the faith lead you when you join in a cult. Some of the same rhetoric that you will hear in large groups such as the church, such as the mosque, is the same rhetoric that's used for cults and gangs, that you're not supposed to think, that you just follow. And the more you follow, the better you are. The more faithful you are if you follow without questioning. And that's why I have my concerns. Because if you're not allowed to question what it is you're participating in, that sounds like a dictatorship. And I know a lot of people, they're not going to believe that. They're going to be like, nah, God is about love. But if you're not allowed to question and think for yourself and rationalize for yourself and come to your own conclusions, then that means you're just a follower. That means you're being submissive to something you don't understand. And that's why I differ at. That's why I draw the line. I need an understanding of what it is I'm participating in. Because the more you participate in something you don't understand, the more you become subject to something you're not in control of. And some people say that's what it's all about. You're not in control, you gotta let go and let God. And I say I understand that. But within it, there are things that you could become subject to. Whether you want to believe they man-made or whatever. There's people out there sexually assaulting people in the name of Jesus, in the name of God. Praying over people while they abuse people. Talk about, let me get the demons out you. It's people that fleece you out your money in the name of whatever religion they coming in. It's people that have become suicide bombers in the name of their spiritual beliefs. Is that taking it too far? Some people would say, nah, myself, that's why I differ. Each person is entitled to their own beliefs. But where we get it twisted is when you get a large number of people that believe in a certain thing, and you have one person that believes in something else. Then you become the oddity. You become the black sheep. You become an outcast. And people will dehumanize you because you're not in line with what they believe in. EI slavery. EI Nazi Germany. EI, the example goes on for ages, to where when people were in the minority and they didn't hold the same beliefs of those in power, they became outcast and dehumanized and sometimes killed and punished for daring to be different, daring to think different, daring to question the status quo. And it's like, is that godly? Is that based in love? Because I had a question for somebody, and I was saying, okay, say somebody's not a Christian. Say somebody ain't get baptized. Say somebody don't believe that Jesus rose on the third day. Does that make them a devil? Because what if this person went his whole life or her whole life being a blessing to others, being charitable, being compassionate, and you have somebody on this end that has been baptized, confesses Jesus rose again on the third day, but abuses people sexually, mentally, financially, preys on people, is a whole predator out here. Does that person become more valid than this person over here? Where's the line that we draw? How can you draw a line? To me, it seems up for debate. That's what I'm doing right here. I'm bringing this debate to the table. And like I'm saying, I don't feel like it's a necessity to be led by faith when you have questions that cannot be answered. Some people's like, that's what it's all about. You gotta believe. You gotta believe, not me. I don't believe some of the stuff, and I don't prescribe to some of the stuff. You know, and there's no way around it. It's some things that I question. I question, like, if God was this and God was that, then why did God allow this? And, you know, somebody got to answer for everything if it fits their narrative. You know, God wanted that little girl with him. Or, you know, if God was all-knowing, why does he allow the suffering? Does he want us to suffer? Is that a God of love, that he wants us to suffer? If we're suffering for the sins of Adam and Eve, why do he let people that don't have nothing to do with it suffer? It's all types of questions. Why did he want everyone dead, all men and children? Is that a God of love? Now, I'm quite sure somebody got the answers. They could probably point out some text, but I've read the Bible. I've read the New Testament and the Old Testament, and there's a lot of things I question. How can David be favored when he sent his man to his death? The only thing that separates David from the next man, that I guess his bloodline. His bloodline. He sent the man to death. What did that man do to be sent to death while David fornicated with his wife? But he was favored. He was one of God's favorites. I don't get it. And you know, if you ask for an explanation, somebody probably will be able to explain it right away. That man served God's purpose. But I don't get it. You look at the story of Abraham and Isaac. If God was a God of love, why would he test you and send you up there to slay your own child when he know your heart? He know you was going to do it before you did it. Why would he send you through that motion? That sound like a human. That sound like somebody that's, you know, that sounds like a flawed character to me, if you ask me. That sounds like somebody that's mortal. And I'm quite sure somebody will dispute me. Somebody probably can't out-argue me. But right now, it's just me right here, and I'm just speaking my mind. So I don't have that opposition to me, and I'm free to get my thoughts off as I express them. You know, even growing up, I know I'm not the only one who had a hard time, you know, adjusting and believing some of this stuff. Let me do one thing right quick, y'all, before we go on. Take a pause. Voila. Give me a second. I'm back in business, Baltimore. I'm back in business, Baltimore. I'm back. Had to turn on that light back there just to give me a little bit of pop. Went on and threw this hoodie on. This hoodie come from Eric Davis, y'all. It's True Religion. He had some stuff when I told him I was going to do this podcast. Man's a generous person. You know, he a big brother, father figure, mentor, just an all-around good guy who helped me through a lot of bad situations in my life. You know, he poured a lot into me. I can say that. That's Eric Davis, Elite Pros. And every week I go in there and pick up something good, man. Line me up. Without him, I'd probably be looking rough, rugged, and raw out here. Looking crazy. This man had me looking good for decades now. 2 decades now. This man that had me looking El Guapo out here in these streets. You know, leave it to me, I'll be looking like Famous Amos. And I ain't got no cookies. But yeah. Back to what I was saying, y'all. I know everybody ain't, you know, ingesting what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to get y'all to see is a lot of things that we may have been conditioned to believe in that may not be true. Like, when I was younger, they used to tell me that Pluto was the last planet. Until Pluto wasn't the last planet. They used to be like, all black people came over here on slave ships. At one point, I'm 46, at one point in time, they were saying all blacks came over here on slave ships. Now we're learning that a lot of us blacks, or what we call blacks, are not black people. We indigenous to this land. When they came over here, they were seeing us. It said they seen darker skinned people, not the natives that we see depicted on television. It was us. The ones that came from the movies like The Bigger They Come, The Harder They Fall. Like those cowboys of the past. Us, indigenous peoples, with darker skin, having roots in this land. You know, we believed in the narrative that was given to us by people who actually enslaved a lot of us. Well, maybe, I don't know the number, but that would go so far as to enslave us, to lynch us, to hang us. Like, Do we take that with full credibility of somebody who would do that to us? Do we believe what they tell us? Stripped us of our language, stripped us of our culture and heritage, and gave us. That's why this is another reason I wanted to talk about our spiritual beliefs. And I'm quite sure a lot of people can explain their way around this too as well. The Christianity as we know it was given to us or forced upon us by a people who would abuse us, for lack of better words, who were complicit in taking our resources in our land. How much faith can you have in something that was given to you by your enemy? And I've said this to, Christians, and it's been Christians who went so far to tell me that it was Christians here before the boats came, before Mayflower hit. And I said, man, you don't have no proof of that. You just talking right now. You speculating right now. But what we do know for a fact that the missionaries brought this with them. And it was like, it was Christians back in the days. It wasn't Christianity back in the days. It was a Coptic religion. It may have had some of the same tenets, but it wasn't Christianity as we know it. This was brought over to the shores of America by the people who would eventually become our captors, who would eventually be the class who has a stronghold over us now. They gave us Christianity to select individuals to lead us while they sat in on service to make sure we were getting the message that they wanted us to receive. That we would remain passive through our spirituality. We were no longer allowed to study the ways of life and the heritage that our ancestors had before us. What that is, we don't even know. A lot of us don't even know our language. A lot of us don't know nothing. A lot of that was wiped away, and it was forbidden by the same people who forced Christianity on us. Now, if I'm saying something wrong, if I'm saying something that's not true, correct me. And I'm quite sure somebody will be able to explain that away, and that was God's way of moving through and bringing us. He had to bring. But that's besides the point. Like, I've read in there, it said be a happy slave. A happy slave. Who would tell you to be a happy slave? Who would tell you to be a happy slave? Like, think about that. Who would tell you to be a happy slave? If I'm not mistaken, didn't Moses say, let my people go? Let my people go? So let my people go, but you be a happy slave. Something ain't right. Something just don't add up. So, at some points, you do agree with it, because it does have something in it. But do you accept it all without doing your own research, without studying, without looking to outside sources to back up what it is you read, to get a clear picture and a clear understanding? If somebody asks you to do that and believe just based on what they're telling you and their interpretation of it, something's wrong with that. And I think that's a lot of times that's what we've been conditioned to accept, to follow, to believe something that even when we look at it, it's contrary to what we know to be true. Think about it. It's rife with situations that you will sit there and be like, man, something ain't adding up with this. I know 1 and 1 be 2, but this thing is saying it's something else. And what I'm trying to say is you're not wrong for questioning. You're not wrong for questioning. And some people will call you Doubting Thomas. Jesus had to put his fingers in the hole for him to believe. But in no place do it tell you to be naive and stupid either. Because the same way you following somebody who claimed to have the righteous word, you could be misled by somebody claiming to be having the righteous word too. So that's why I say, you gotta research. You gotta identify. You gotta be aware, be attentive, be curious, and not just be a follower. When stuff don't sit well with you, figure out why it's not sitting well with you. Does that make you a sinner because you're not a follower? No. I sit here and say that right now. No. Just because you don't follow somebody blindly, that doesn't make you a sinner. It could be to your detriment. It could lead to your abuse. It could lead to people preying on you if you following people without proving and doing your own research. And they telling you, you gotta have faith. Now, sometimes you might have a good leader that's about teaching the right way, but it still wouldn't hurt you to go back and do your own research and find out. Just don't take everybody's word on face value. Don't do it. Don't do it. And that's what I'm presenting today, man. And I know a lot of people probably looking at me right now or watching this and they gotta say this and say that, but man, you ain't gotta be a follower. Sometimes you might have to walk alone. Walk alone. That's what I'm learning. Sometimes you gotta walk alone until you come across somebody of a like mind. Maybe it's your family, maybe it's not. A lot of people will deceive you. A lot of people will take you off track. A lot of people will try to put you in their spin and have you participating in their world and more consumed with their life than you are with your own. I don't see nothing right about that. A lot of people will have you consumed in their beliefs. And sometimes you gotta step away so you can see your own path. I remember I was younger. I think I was around 11, 12 years old. It was a Sunni Muslim guy. I think he was Middle Eastern. I don't know if he was Puerto Rican. He wasn't what I am. And he was trying to recruit me. And I didn't know the guy. I seen him around the neighborhood. This is when I was living in New Jersey. I think I was in the 8th grade or the summer before 8th grade. I felt uncomfortable. He was trying to get me to become a Muslim. And I felt uncomfortable because I looked at it, and maybe it's because I'm from one of them neighborhoods, downtown Newport News. And I was like, what we got in common? I'm 11, 12 years old. This guy had to be 19, 20, 21. I think he was older than high school, so he had to be 19, 20, 21, somewhere in there. And I said, the dynamic, at that age, I realized the dynamic of that relationship was unbalanced. Like, what I got to present to you? What I got for you? Except me following and listening to you and like taking your word, and you're physically stronger than me, mentally stronger than me. This is an unbalanced relationship. And I didn't want to participate in it. So I just separated myself, and I think I spoke to him one time and I was like, it was like, man, what's up? Where you been at? I was like, man, I could just tell my dad about this and see what he say about it. And he left me alone after that. He left me alone. Because I said, whatever you trying to put on me, let's have this discussion with my pops, man. And that way, this could be balanced. Because he a little bit bigger than you and older than you, probably smarter than you. And he might be able to see things that I can't see. But right now, I just feel uncomfortable. And after I said that, that was the end of that. But a lot of times, people will take advantage of you. And I don't say there's no correlation between this and Christianity. But a lot of times, people will take advantage of your lack of knowledge. They'll take advantage of your physical inability. They'll take advantage of your emotional or financial distress. That's just what a lot of people do. And you can't explain it. Because sometimes it's not what you'll do, so you don't expect somebody to do it to you. Sometimes you're desperate and you're searching for an opportunity and you wind up landing on some of these buzzards out here. Some of these people that's out here looking for you. Like these people wake up in the morning time doing their hands like Birdman, looking for somebody to take advantage of. I've been around it. And they not looking for a challenge. They looking for the weak. They're looking for the desolate. They're looking for the downtrodden. They looking for those who ain't got nobody around to protect them. So they could swoop in and have their way. And it don't matter what you got. They willing to take whatever it is because it's more than what they had. Whether it's just you following them and doing what they say. I've had people that was dumb as a brick try to be your leader. Like, try to lead people and they dumb as a brick. That's what people will do. So you gotta watch out. You gotta identify things when you see them. That feeling you got that makes you question things, that's your intuition. That's your gut feeling. So you're telling me that I should ignore my gut feeling, ignore my intuition, and follow you blindly. No. And I don't recommend anyone does. That gut feeling is usually built up over time. Some people have a stronger intuition than others. But some people have an intuition based on their experiences they done went through. You've been hurt before. You've been taken advantage of. So you might not be able to recognize it why it's happening because people will package it up a little bit different. But it's something familiar. And it rubs you the wrong way. And it itches you. Something to let you know it ain't right, and you got this unquiet feeling in your spirit, in your inside. We ain't even gonna say spirit. We're gonna say you got this uneasy feeling that something ain't right. That's your intuition. That feeling right there, that's there to protect you. It's there to make you cautious. It's there to make you take a step back. So when you're not taking a step back and you're just jumping in head first, it might work out and it might not. I've never seen any demonstration of the Bible to where God punished you with death because you stepped back. God just struck you down because you stepped back. Don't they say ask for clarification? Step back and ask for a clarification. And if you're not given the opportunity to step back and ask for a clarification, you being pressured into making a decision right now. Maybe that ain't the right decision. Maybe that ain't who you need to be around. That sounds like a car salesman to me. That sounds like somebody trying to get you to make a snap decision and judgment right then and there before you can get your thought together. That's the sound of that's the signs of somebody manipulating you right there. When you being forced into a quick snap decision that you don't get to pray over. Yeah. Flip it on people, man. Let me think about it. If somebody don't want to give you an opportunity to think about it, they trying to make you make a decision real fast, that's a clear sign you about to be taken advantage of. Right there. If somebody trying to make you make a decision right in this moment, that whatever it is, it can't wait till you get a chance to think about it, that's a clear indication that somebody's trying to take advantage of you. Even if it's a job opportunity. And they saying you got to make up your mind right now or the job ain't going to. Later on down the line, you'll find out the people ain't paying you right. They working, they taking all types of advantage of you. Because anybody that cares about you wouldn't require you to make a split decision that may affect your life negatively for a long time to come. Right then and there. They'll let you think about it. If they cared about you. So, this is just some of the stuff I was thinking about, man. And it ties right back into what I was saying. If you're not allowed to think about it, if you're not allowed to research it, if you're not allowed to ask questions, can it really be for you? That's something to think about right there. If you're not allowed to question, do some research on it, come to your own conclusion and it's forced down your throat and it's either this or if you don't believe this way, that means something wrong with you and you going to hell. Something ain't right about that. Something ain't right about that because somebody's trying to make you or get you to make a split decision in a unthought out decision that you ain't really take no time and ponder over it and figure out if it's the right decision for you to make at the time. People will force you into getting baptized. When you come in and get baptized today, man, right now. If there's somebody out there, raise your hand. Raise your hand, come on down. We got the water ready for you. You're like, hold on, man. This is my first day in church. You talk about, like, hold on, man. Slow down. I just came to this church today and y'all ready to throw me in the water today. Like, man, hold on, man. Pump your brakes. Pump your brakes. And I think, people just put you in all awkward situations, man, all types of. It's man-made. It's man-made. A lot of this stuff is man-made, and some people, they slicker than others. Some people got the gift of gab, man. They talk real fast. Some people done read a little more books than you. Some people done been around longer than you. And you can't out-talk them. Some people, they ain't held by truth. Some people say something, back it up with this, and it's not founded in any truth at all. They just proving their point however they can with whatever they got at their resource. Whatever resources they got on hand, they'll use it. Whether it's to say faith, whether it's to call you a son, or whether to say if you don't believe in this, you're going to burn in hell. And people got all types of devices that they use to basically prop up their narrative. And if you're not allowed to make your own judgment on some of this stuff, then how good can it be for you? It's good for them because they getting you to do what they want you to do. But is it actually good for you? And that's what I want you to sit back and think about, man. Is it good for you? Is it good for you, y'all? I'm about to shut it down. This was a good little session. I didn't have my music going because I haven't figured out a way to hook my Tascam up straight to my camera. But I'm going to look that up. I got my monitor set here. I got my headphone input attached because without the headphone input, I was getting feedback straight from the phone to the camera. But we working it out. I'm just doing different things, and this thing look real crystal clear. So I'm gonna see what to do. I'm gonna end it out. I was trying to get the zoom right, y'all. I couldn't get the zoom right. I don't want to zoom while I stream, y'all. I don't know what's going on. It was zooming the other day when I had it hooked up straight to the computer. So I might go back to that. But I'm gonna figure it out. But you know, all this connects to the earlier conversation I had about Lil Durk. A lot of times I think we conditioned to think a certain way or believe certain things without giving it no thought. A lot of times we misled by others. A lot of times we being deceived by others. So it's on you to kind of figure it out. You know, they say ignorance is no excuse for the law. That's what they tell you in court. It don't matter if you know the law or not. If you on the wrong side of it, ignorance is not an excuse. And I tend to think that way in life. Ignorant is not an excuse, because if you're ignorant to a situation, don't mean it's not going to happen to you. So it's in your best interest to grow, to learn, to research. Because if you don't, it leaves you vulnerable. So with that, I'm out of here, y'all. I'm out of here.